I'm Suzanna Muchin. I'm a professor at the Kellogg School of Management, the founder of Bonfire, a women's talent development accelerator. And I'm a proud member of the Anshe Emet Synagogue, a conservative synagogue on Chicago's North Side. And I'm so happy to be with you today to talk to the theme of global peace and flourishing. In its wisdom, Judaism insists on communal prayer. We come together in groups of 10 to pray, to comfort one another, to celebrate life's events. So what do we do when the time that we're in right now does not allow for that? Do we shelter in place? Do we close ourselves in? I'm going to offer us a prayer and a story today that hopefully will speak to what we can do to make the world not just tolerable, but better at a moment like this. Because it seems that we have two choices. The first is to keep ourselves apart from the other, close ourselves off, and to not offer our neighbor the kind of strength and support that is needed at that time. But the alternative to that is to offer the words of a prayer that Jews offer one another every Sabbath, every week, as we gather together in the synagogue. It is the Misha Berach prayer that speaks to the need for physical healing, although in its wisdom it also speaks to the need for spiritual healing. Its name comes from the first two words of that prayer, and it has a more holistic view of humankind. It prays for physical cure, but it also speaks to blessings, compassion, restoration, and strength within the community of others facing illness or spiritual need, not just among Jews, but among all humankind. So for those who are in need of strength and healing, we can say, may the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for those who need their health and inner peace restored. And let their strength be revived. May God swiftly send them complete renewal of body and spirit. Refuach Shlema. And let us say to that, Amen. And finally, let me end with a short story that comes from a story we all know well, from the Torah. It is a version of Noah's Ark, but with a modern day spin. We are told that God isn't happy with the earth, and so he brings a flood. It destroys the earth and only saves one family, Noah, and two of every species, and brings them onto an ark. But the story is, of course, far more complex and offers metaphors, many of which are applicable to our world today. But the quote that I'm going to share with you comes from a modern day take from a book called The Preservationist by David Main. And in this book, at this time, the story turns to the time after the flood, when Noah and his family are finally on dry land. And they turn to one another and ask the question that really should have been over their heads the entire time, but they haven't allowed themselves to ask it until now. And the question is this: why did God do it? Why did he do it? And here is how they answer. Noah, ever faithful, says, because he wished to cleanse the world of sin. Noah's wife, ever practical, says, because he could. One of Noah's sons, ever cynical, said, because he had no respect for his fellow human beings. I'd like to offer the answer of Noah's simple, wise daughter-in-law. Why did God do it? She answers with this: because he wanted to see what we could do together. Indeed, I'd like us to pray on that. Why did God do it? I pray that we will look at this time of one, that even when the deluge is here, we will turn to one another for strength and healing and compassion. And then we can see what we can all do together. And to that we can all say, Amen.